together, have a little catch-up. And they'll be at the usual time of 6 p.m. If you haven't already, remember to join our Facebook group or follow us at GT Cycling Club on Insta and GTCC_ on Twitter. That way you can keep up to date with everything over the summer. G's going to be trying to win some races. We might sneak in a bonus episode or two, G, might we?
Yeah, I think we got a few nice little ideas, actually, for some shorter, punchier episodes.
Nice. The other strange thing about having done 19 of these is that I've watched your face gradually get thinner and thinner and thinner.
Yeah, same with you, mate. All those sessions
Thanks
on
very
Zwift,
much.
they're paying dividends. Quite literally.
Shall we get on with the show? Gee, I've made an executive decision as chairman. The power has gone to my head. I'm taking all the decisions now. But on the basis that you are currently on the island of Tenerife, on top of a still active volcano, on a training camp, I thought we should talk about, not volcanoes, training.
Yeah, that's a good one, for sure. I think there's a lot we can talk about. Good training partners, bad training partners. I think I've already got a good guest in mind, actually.
Excellent, excellent. How has training been?
Yes, tough as ever. The process is hard and not necessarily enjoyable all the time, but the outcome generally is pretty good. So, yeah, I do like it here. You kind of just, it's proper training camp mentality. You ride your bike hours upon hours. Generally, every training day more or less now is 6 hours. But when you get back, luckily we have a chef here. We have our food ready for us. We rest, pretty much lie on our beds, don't do much, maybe watch some Netflix, get a massage, have some dinner, go to bed and repeat.
Which other teams have been in the hotel? Because the hotel in Tenerife, as discussed in previous podcasts, is inhabited exclusively by elite cyclists.
But at the moment, actually, there's speed skaters here, some Dutch speed skaters.
Speed skaters?
Yeah, so...
There's not much ice on top of Mount Tidy, is there?
No, but they rollerblade. As I've mentioned previously, you know the cable car, which we've said is a couple of K from the hotel, they pretty much rollerblade up and down there, the same stretch of road. It's got to be pretty boring, but obviously he's at 2,100, 2,200 metres altitude. They ride their bikes as well, they do split days, they might ride their bike for a couple of hours. But yeah, it's definitely, there's difference seeing speed skaters, that's for sure, yeah.
Do they go faster or slower than you on a bike?
A lot slower, a lot slower. I'm not sure the training they do, if it's just like sort of steady away or if they actually do efforts and stuff. But yeah, to be honest, I don't speak to him. But Dylan van Baal, a Dutch teammate of ours here, he speaks to him a bit, and so maybe he can, learn something new that we can maybe take on in ours. But split days are one thing I definitely don't enjoy doing, though. We used to do that a lot on the track. A lot of other teams here, actually, Trek do it a lot. You always, when we're going out at 9:30, they're coming back after their early morning ride, and yeah, I'm just not a fan of that. I don't mind doing it on the turbo, like jump on Zwift for half an hour, but to actually get out on the road and then come back, and yeah, I'm not a fan.
No, it's like a night out where you'd go home halfway through, it would just ruin it.
Although, yeah, I've done that a few times, and I've woken up thinking, what the hell am I doing it back in my bed? And then you go out and meet everyone else again. But yeah, that's for a different pod.
I've got to admit, you've got me slightly worried now, G, because I set you the task of finding a guest for this week's episode from among your fellow residents at the hotel. I'm now slightly worried that you've got us a speed skater.
Hello, I'm Alan Cumming, and I have a new podcast called Alan Cumming's Shelves. You see, I have quite a few shelves in my house that are sort of a museum of my life. In each episode, I'm going to take an item off my shelves, tell you why it's there in the first place, then start to talk about my memories of it, and then I chat with a friend who's involved in those memories. I've spoken to Ian McKellen about a hemp bracelet that he bought me on a nudist beach we visited together, Cyndi Lauper about a pair of white leather gloves I wore on Broadway, and you even get to hear Jerry Halliwell talk about my Spice Girls lunchbox, and that is not a euphemism. I have some really amazing guests coming on to chat, so I just hope you will join me. And all you have to do that is to search for Alan Cumming's Shelves, wherever you get your podcasts from. See you soon.
Okay, Tom, so it's time to introduce our guest. He's the first Dutch rider that we've had on the GTCC. He's a former teammate of mine, currently riding for Bahrain. He's a good guy, happy guy. His slogan is "Smiling is for free." So, welcome to the podcast, Wout Pals.
Hey, hello.
Nice thing is, Wout, that you are smiling while we do this. I can see you on the Zoom. That's a lovely grin. So you're backing up what G's just said.
I think this was the first time G is so friendly to me, like with all compliments. On the bike, he's always a little bit, like...
Yeah, no, Wout's one of those guys. He's great to train with, but sometimes it's just like a radio in the background. He's not as bad as Cameron Worth.
No, he's bad.
Cam FM, but no, Wout's always good for morale, though. He's always pretty positive and joking around in his Dutch ways.
I think that's a compliment.
G told us the other day when we were talking about training camps in Tenerife, he said you were the only rival rider that he'll speak to at breakfast.
No one else speaks to you on breakfast.
No, as in another team. Not our team.
Oh yeah. Yeah, but we don't see each other now, huh?
Yeah, we're lucky
Because you
now.
have the apartment and I have to sit down for the first time in my life in the restaurant with the normal people.
Yeah, so basically, Tom, there's one apartment in the hotel, and we have that, and it has a kitchen in there, so we have a chef here, and we just eat, breakfast, lunch, and dinner in there, so we can stay away from everyone, which is kind of nice, rather than seeing bike riders all the time. But, yeah, if I was in the restaurant, Wout is the one I'd say hello and have a little chat with, yeah. Nobody else. So.
Nice.
No,
What about you, though?
I have the same.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Well, I was going to pile into all the tough stuff about training, but since we're all being nice to each other, I want to know, Wout, what makes the perfect training partner? Because you're out on your bikes for a long time. What did you do today? 6 hours? So 6 hours of bad chat is a very long 6 hours. So I think I'd be looking for someone who wasn't only a cyclist who was at my level, maybe slightly better, but someone whose chat was right up there as well.
Yeah, it's different. It's like today, for instance, we had efforts, so there's not a lot of chat at all. Even when you're rolling out from the start, everyone's thinking like, well, this is a big day, not really talking. Then you do your first effort, you're on your own, obviously. You finish that, you speak to the coach, tell him how hard it was, how tired you are. Then you roll down and you do it again. Then you ride home, everyone's a bit tired, hungry, grumpy. There was a little argument today. I won't go into too much detail, but...
Please.
Rowan Dennis went nuts at your countryman, Dylan.
Oh, really?
Yeah, that was quite funny.
But we want to know details. Or I want to know details.
Well, basically, Dylan has a reputation. Seeing we're talking about training, actually, you tell everyone what Dylan's like. I don't think I need to tell you. We all know, anyone that's been a teammate of Dylan, what was it like training with Dylan? Dylan Van Baals.
His wheel is maybe always a half wheel in front of you.
Yeah, so cycling etiquette almost is, you don't ride half a wheel in front of someone because...
But you have a few who always do that.
There's always some people and they're always trying to push the pace a bit, and it's just very antisocial, isn't it? And
just
very
really,
Dutch.
really annoying.
Very Dutch, actually.
No, not Dutch. I know more not Dutch people. Maybe a lot of Dutch people do that. Yeah. But not me. I don't do that, no?
No, you don't.
I always follow.
Yeah. But so Dylan's one of those guys, he always sort of push the pace. Even when you're on an easy ride, he wants to ride half a k an hour quicker than everyone else. And it grates on a few people more than others. And it's been grating on Rowan a bit. And then today was the final. So we have 3 individual efforts and then 1 team effort at the end. So team effort is sort of to try and half simulate a race, half so you communicate. Maybe not in the way that Rowan did, but and then half to it's the last effort of the day, so you're tired, you get a bit more out of each other, so you can go a bit deeper when you're sort of with other people, can't you? You kind of race it a bit more, that competitiveness comes out. So anyway, we were supposed to start the first 5k at a certain amount of watts. Rowan was a bit tired, and it was kind of our fault anyway, really. It's like going into a lion's den and petting the lion and getting your hand bitten off and then complaining that the lion's bit your hand. We let Rowan sort of take charge of the pace, which was never really going to end well. So he just wanted it to go a bit slower. Dylan always wants to ride top of his zone, so Dylan was riding quicker than Rowan kind of wanted, and it just escalated from there, really. And then the final 5k, Rowan yeah, sat up, and then we continued the effort, and that was that. But there wasn't so much of that when you were in the team, was there? Like,
No,
I wouldn't say it's a big argument, but just a bit of a.
I think I never had an argument.
There must have been a time.
Not with me.
No, you were angry with people though. You just didn't say.
Yeah,
you
but
were a
then-
sneaky one.
Yeah, but then I just don't speak with them anymore. Yeah, but that's better, no?
Yeah, I don't know. Sometimes it's good to just get it out.
Yeah, true, but I'm never long angry at someone.
No, you don't hold a grudge.
Just like,
Apart from one guy.
I'm...
We won't mention his name.
No,
Maybe when you're retired.
yeah. But I think we go a little bit off subject. We were speaking about ideal training partner.
Oh, yeah. But that's what happens on this pod.
Ah,
Louise edited it really well, so it sounds like... you know.
okay. So we cut also in things.
Yeah. Just say whatever you want, mate.
Okay.
What's the inside chat, Wout, on the best training partner? The ones who've got the best chat or the best manners or they're never in a bad mood?
You know, I quite like to train with G, but he have quite often a bad mood. But I can deal with that.
No, not bad.
Ah, not bad. He's always a little bit grumpy.
Yeah.
Yeah, because you're always hungry.
Yeah.
Or hangry. So then after the coffee stop, it's amazing. So before the coffee stop, I'm only chatting, but I quite like it. No, I think a good training partner is like, you know, just easy chat, riding the good pace.
And also enjoys riding a bike.
Yeah.
Someone that doesn't... There's a few people that moan maybe like, oh, you still got 2 hours left.
Yeah.
Or
Or like people who always want to change the route. I'm like always super easy. If we say, oh, we go to Sospel and then Browse and blah, blah, blah. And then you always have people halfway, but we also can go left and do this climb. And then I'm always like, yeah, we also can't do that. Just like stick to the plan. Like keep it easy, no?
Yeah. I'd say, yeah, if you were going to rank the things, it'd definitely be that etiquette, halfway lane etiquette is number one.
Yeah.
That you don't do.
No.
Decent chat is good.
The thing is, I don't like people who talk more than me.
Yeah.
Then it's too much.
The thing is as well though, it's like, yeah, with me, if Wout's just chatting away, I can just zone out a bit. A bit
Really?
like,
You zone out.
oh, big time.
No.
Yeah. And then, like, halfway through the ride, then I might say something, and Wout was like, hey, we were talking about this like 2 hours ago. I'd be like, oh, yeah, sorry, yeah, silly me, yeah, oh, grumpy G, yeah. But really, I just wasn't listening.
Is it better to talk about cycling or not to talk about cycling? Because you are surrounded by cycling and I'm sure you're thinking about it. So if you're out on a long training ride, would you rather talk about something completely different, like football or rugby or a film you've watched? Or, gee, you've lobbed a few cheeky sort of philosophical questions in the mix sometimes, haven't you? Like riddles.
Yeah, no, I like definitely different chat for sure. That's the problem with riding with guys that don't speak great English. You know, a 6-hour ride with a South American guy who can't really speak English, and
I think they say yes or no.
yeah. But then there's only so many things you can talk about in cycling, like this climb was hard or this race back then, and like we all enjoy cycling and we're all fans of it, but you don't want to think about it 24/7. So I do like the odd, like, oh, would you rather be like here, or, you know, like if you're in the Giro. I remember in the Giro in like 2008, I was in Gruppetto with Brad and it was like peeing down and stuff, and I was like, what are we doing here? Would you rather be here or would you rather be in like Manchester just doing some rolling 5Ks on the track? Those type of things. But I'm not into the type of questions like, I don't know, would you rather penises for fingers or a finger as a penis? You know, those things are just not possible.
Sounds more like a look thing.
Yeah, exactly, yeah. But if it was something like, do you want... I heard one recently on a podcast I was listening to, like custard on your Sunday roast or gravy on your, you know, sticky toffee pudding or whatever.
Interesting.
Now, those type of questions I like.
Where would you go with that one?
I think I'd go custard on a roast dinner.
Would you? Because custard's really nice.
Yeah, and it's just a bit... I think it'd just go better with your meat and your veg rather than gravy on your sticky toffee pudding. I don't know about that one. Do you even know what we're going on about right now?
Yeah, only the toffee pudding and the other one, but not that word.
Custard?
Yeah. I don't know what it is. Sorry.
Really? No, for sure Alice would have got... Well, I'm going to...
Yeah, maybe I had it before, but I don't know
Ah, okay.
the...
Alice is Wout's girlfriend, by the way, Tom. She's a British girl. So, yeah,
Okay.
educating Wout.
The weird thing about custard is it's actually quite a hard thing to describe. Gee, I would like you to describe custard in a sentence for Wout, please.
Oh, jeepers. You put it on sticky toffee pudding. An apple crumble. It's yellow. It's kind of sweet. You make it with like eggs, sugar, and milk. Do you? I've never actually made it.
Or you get it from a packet and just mix in the milk.
Yeah, exactly. Or a can. Can's even easier. But
Still have no idea what it is. Maybe you better go on Google and see it on.
yeah. Or crème anglais, they call it in France.
I also don't speak French.
Blancmange? Does blancmange make sense?
No.
Oh, it's not blancmange though, is it?
It's not really, but it's the closest I can think of. It's like runny blancmange, isn't it?
Wow, blancmange. I haven't had that since I was a kid. I'll bring some to because Wout lives near me actually, so you can come over for dinner one night. We'll have blancmange and
That
custard.
would be nice one day.
Yeah.
Okay, right, enough about puddings. I want to find out about the hard stuff in training. So the thing I always wonder, because cycling's a tough sport, isn't it? It's not an easy sport. And when you're racing, I can imagine that motivation is really hard to find because the prize is there in front of you. But in training, when the target race might still be weeks or months away and the sessions are really, really hard, how do you keep going through those?
That's not so difficult, I think. I don't know. I think we have a kind of a mindset that just like every day you go, 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 and you have that goal in your head that you want to reach.
Yeah.
And then it's pretty easy. Not always. I mean, you always have days that you go on the bike, you're like, phew.
Tough going.
Yeah, but...
Yeah, I think, as Steve Peters said, Tom, he was going on about commitment and motivation, really, and it's exactly that. So guys like me, Wout, whoever, you have your goals and you're committed to that. You have your plan to do that, so you get out and you do it. And motivation, you can wake up and like today, for instance, like you could be, if it's raining outside, like, got efforts to do and I'm feeling a bit tired here, not really too bothered, I'd rather just sort of have a bit of an easier day, but you know that that's the plan, and if you commit to it, that you're going to be the best you can be, and that's it basically. And
afterwards you have even a better feeling.
Exactly.
If you didn't look forward and you did the effort.
That reminds me. Remember when we were here once? You, through me. Yeah. Tell Tom the story. Go on, if you remember it.
Yeah, I don't know exactly why you want to say it, but when it was snowing and then we went out and then Froomey stayed in.
It was snowing up top. It was terrible, wasn't it?
Oh, yeah.
And me and Wout were like, let's just go out and do it. We'll do.
And
I think
Tim liked it there. He was proud of us.
Tim, the coach, he was proud. Yeah, he was sat there in the car thinking, these boys are going to go far.
And we were on the bike and we were like, what the hell are we doing here? Like proper snowing.
Yeah, but weirdly, once we were out, we kind of got into it a bit, didn't we?
We went pretty far, I think.
But then, do you remember, we were in Tenerife, so you can ride about 45 minutes, and then it goes downhill then. So, and we were like, if we just go down, we'll wrap up, we'll go down, then we'll do an effort back. Do you remember? It was like a 90-minute effort we normally do. So we were like, sorry, let's just go down. So we went down, turned around, and it was actually quite nice at the bottom. Or it wasn't snowing. It stopped raining and everything.
I think we took all our clothes
we
off.
Stripped
it was pretty warm.
Not totally bolloco, obviously. And then,
not topless.
Away we went, did the effort, got to the top, wrapped up again, got back to the hotel. Then we maybe even done about 4 hours.
Yeah.
And Froomey had done an hour on the turbo, and he saw us walking back, and he was like, have you been out all this time, boys? And we were like, yeah. And we did the SAP, which is the name of the effort that we do. And you could see he was just thinking, and then he was literally, we got a shower, got nice and warm, went to have lunch. And then Tim comes in, he's like, right, all right, see you later. And we're like, where are you going? He's like, Froomey wants to go out and do the same thing now. I think you do get motivation from your teammates as well. So like we always say about our club riders in GTCC. I think if you're meeting someone or you're going out with people, it makes life a lot easier because it's easier to get out then.
Especially on the general days.
Yeah.
With efforts, I don't mind to go alone.
There's a bit of competition help in training as well. The stuff we talked about there is teammates helping you. But I guess if you've got someone who's going slightly better than you or slightly faster than you, your racing brain kicks in as well.
I think especially with the team efforts, you really push each other to the limit.
Oh, for sure.
From Villefleur up till here.
That's what we did today.
Done already.
Yeah, definitely. Like that competitiveness comes out. Like that's the main reason I moved down to south of France, really, with the team, because obviously the team had a base there anyway. But then Froomey and Richie Port were two of the best climbers in the world at the time in Skye. So I moved down there, and then I was training with them every day. So every climb you're doing, you're not in your comfort zone. You know, I could stay at home, and no disrespect to someone like Stannard, but, you know, rising uphill with Stannard, I'm not really pushing myself. So every day I was training like with two of the best climbers in the world, and that's what really moved me on. Like with every sport, really, I think that competitiveness in the team is good to a point. It's just when it becomes, well, over competitive, I guess. But
Yeah, if you're gonna race every day, like to the limit, that's also not.
yeah, like that's another thing with bad train. Well, not bad trainers, but some guys, like for instance, today we did 3 individual efforts, 1 team effort. Some guys soft tap the individual efforts, save themselves for the team.
I know a few.
Yeah.
I won't call names.
Yeah, I don't know. They're only cheating themselves, Tom, because we all know it. The coach knows it. Like, you're not gonna just get selected for a big race because you've done well in a team effort. Although some coaches do get carried away sometimes with numbers and stuff, don't they? But that's a different pod.
Yeah. Oh, you had the last time, no?
Yeah. If you haven't listened to it, coaching with Rod Edinworth, very good. This is better though, eh?
Oh, this is way more better.
Yeah.
See, I think that will tie in with how a lot of amateur riders feel, because there's always someone in every club who either wins the warm-up or just holds something back. Let's say you're doing 5 efforts, who on efforts 3 and 4 just disappears in the wheels, and then suddenly effort 5, hello, fresh as a daisy, trying to win the final effort.
Yeah.
But I think if I become one day an amateur, I also would say for the last one, no? Because then you come home on a Sunday afternoon with a good feeling. Take a pint afterwards. No.
Although I can't imagine doing efforts if I wasn't professional.
No, me neither, but yeah, maybe. But maybe you're gonna miss it. I don't know.
Yeah.
I mean, you were speaking that after cycling you want to do a triathlon or something.
Oh yeah, Ironman all the way.
Oh,
for sure.
Ironman.
Yeah.
Then I would do an effort on Sunday.
Yeah, I will be doing efforts, won't I? Actually, yeah.
You'll be doing 3 different sorts of efforts. You'll be doing efforts in the pool, efforts on the track, and efforts on the bike.
Yeah. I might regret that, but you need a goal though. You know, like, this is going off topic a bit, but you know, I've been professional for 15 years now, and then, you know, 2 years under 23, 2 years junior. Even in those years, you've got goals and ambitions, and, you know, junior worlds or this or that race, and to suddenly, once you retire, then not have anything you're working towards, like, that'll just be like weird, wouldn't it?
Yeah,
so,
but what are you gonna do after that then? After that triathlon thing, Ironman or?
Feels like Wout's getting your head here, G. Sounds like he's just trying to mess with
No,
you a little
I'm
bit.
just also for myself. I'm just.
well, he's a rival team now, isn't he? So he's sort of like
He's
trying
getting in
to.
your head.
Yeah, he's trying to.
I know you're still looking good.
Oh, thanks, man.
Saw you yesterday in the hall,
Yeah.
and you ignored me. No, joking. Looking sharp.
Oh, you don't look bad yourself either. Huh?
What?
This is some bromance, isn't it, Tom?
It's nice. Particularly because you're both recording from a single microphone, your noses are almost touching anyway. There's an intimacy to this conversation we haven't had on previous pods.
And with the old headphones, it's like that scene out of, what is it? With the dogs with the spaghetti?
I don't know. Just
No,
that
we
one.
need a dogs and spaghetti. Sounds.
There's 2 dogs eating spaghetti, and Lady and the Tramp, that's the one. See? It's a bit like Lady and the Tramp, isn't it?
Which one's the lady, which one's the tramp?
He's the tramp.
What is it, Trump? I only know Donald Trump.
Tramp with an A.
Tramp. Oh.
Well, the tramp was like a homeless stray dog type thing, wasn't it? It's been so
vagrant.
long since I've watched it. And then the lady was, I'm guessing it was like a posh sort of poodle dog, no?
It's amazing where you go on this podcast, isn't it?
It is, yeah.
Yeah, I learned so many things.
Wow, one of the first things I was ever told about you by Geraint was that you had an amazing ability to swear in English. Now, obviously, this is a family pod, so we won't play these swear words out. I think maybe producer Louise could put the sound of maybe of a bicycle bell over the top of these, but just give me the sound of your 3 best swear words in English. And I promise this won't actually go out on air.
The thing was, at one point someone in the team sent me a whole list of swearing words. I don't know why.
Who was it?
Yeah, I can't remember. I think someone on the office, actually. Yeah, and then there was a word belland. That's a good one, no?
Yeah, that's one of Wout's favourites.
Yeah, belland. I call everyone a belland. Yeah.
That's not so bad, though. But
It was like it was a little bit of compliment. If I didn't call you a belland, then you were not part of it.
my niece, who's 2.5, started calling people bellends because she heard her dad say it. That's quite funny. But no, the worst with Wout, though, is, you know, the worst word you can say in English beginning with a C.
Yeah.
So
Oh, sorry. Can't say that. Oh,
If
we
you've
have to
just heard the
beep
sound of
that.
a bicycle
we can
bell.
beep that, no?
That's the one.
Yeah, but I think that's because of...
Richie.
yeah.
Yeah, Richie says that a fair amount. Like, not in an aggressive way, not that that makes up for it, but, you know. So Wow was with my parents-in-law. We were just, I don't know what we were doing. And he said it about 3 or 4 times. I was like, wow, you can't keep saying that.
Yeah, but I remember, I think we were watching the rugby.
Ah, yeah, we
And
were,
then
yeah.
Abe, he was all the time doing this on my leg when they, I don't know, I don't understand that game anyway. And he was so excited all the time, and he was all the time with his hand on my leg, like, bum. And I was like, you're little.
That's
Wow.
you dropped the C bomb in front of Afe and Beth. I can't believe it.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I didn't mind.
Nah, they understood it was his second language.
Yeah,
but
exactly. I can't get away with that all the time.
that's the only thing as well. When you're in airports and stuff and you're with foreigners who just swear in English just because, yeah, they don't really think about it too much. And then you sat there and you're a bit like, boys, it's like quite a lot of like people around here, like, you know, kids and, well, just people.
Yeah, but the thing is, you guys all the time do it like in the room and, you know, like in a sort of a closed environment.
Yeah, exactly.
And then we have to learn all these new words.
Out
And,
in public.
yeah, and then you think it's normal to use that.
That's another thing with training. You speak a lot louder, don't you? Because you're obviously got the wind and stuff. So it must be weird, like if you're just a pedestrian and you see a group of riders coming towards you, all you can hear is wow, like
Turning the
dropping
air
C
blue.
bombs and yeah, effing and blinding.
Effing and blinding.
Yeah, like
It feels like this has been a real education so far, not only for me in the ways of training, but also for Wout in the English language.
Yeah.
effing and blinding. You can have that one, yeah. When you swear a lot, it's just a saying.
Ah.
Don't even know the origins. But
So you use words, like really bad words, and you don't even know what it means.
oh, blinding's not a bad word.
Ah.
It's just like when you're swearing a lot
Ah, okay.
It's like a
I
substitute.
almost never swear.
in Dutch, maybe.
No.
Yeah,
I
well,
think
you've,
that's
already,
very
you've
rude.
already used one particularly strong word on this podcast. I'm not sure I believe
Yeah,
it.
because you two put the words in my mouth that I screamed at, and then that you guys can sell this better.
Let's get this. We've gone slightly off topic here, which has been fun, but I do want to talk a bit more about training. Are there certain riders who are great trainers but terrible racers?
Oh,
And
yeah.
then do you get terrible trainers who are great racers, if that makes sense?
You always have riders at the beginning of the training camp. You know, like in January,
Yeah.
they are flying around, and you're like, "Mamma mia, they're gonna smash it this year." And then the first race they're good, and then they off.
Yeah. And even guys who are all year round that just, yeah, exactly that. Really good trainers, good numbers and stuff. They get to a race and, you know, whether it's the pressure of the race or...
But you know, a race is also not training, huh?
No, exactly, yeah.
Like, so many more things that you need to do, like position.
What about on your team now? Who's an example of that?
For as a really good,
Trainer, but not so good racer.
yeah, I can't say names.
Oh, okay. That's disappointing.
No, you were doing that trick again with swearing words.
But, a good example of not a great trainer who doesn't do huge numbers but races well is Mark Cavendish, obviously.
Oh, you said it in the last podcast also.
Did we?
Yeah, because I listened that one.
Ah.
I listen all of them. I love them. Amazing.
Yeah, because there are guys that sort of, me as well, like I think, and you, like a lot of guys up their game when it comes to a race.
Then you can do that little step extra.
Yeah. Because once you've
But
got a
you
number
do
on your
good
back.
numbers in training.
Oh, thanks. Yeah, I know. Yeah, to someone else like, say, Swifty, Ben Swift, he's not so good with the old numbers and stuff. Someone like Tim Kerrison could just look at his power files and be like, nah, not a lot going on there. But then, you know, races really, really well. Adam Blythe, who's retired now, but he was another one. He could just like find his way, move around the bunch really well and stay out of the wind and save his legs really well. And then other guys, Stannard, for instance, he raced really well, but he was always strong, so he never learned how to do that, the ducking and diving. You know, he never had to, so he never really learned that as well as those guys, really. But yeah, I'd say in this team, there's definitely a few guys that would rather sort of, if there's a race coming up, they're like, oh, well, if I do that, I'll miss like a few days training, you know, so I'd rather just miss that race and have a good training block and then do this and that. And that's a bit weird sometimes, I find.
Who?
Well, you're not naming names, so neither am I.
Fair play.
I can see how someone would get caught up in the training numbers, though, because you do have to give so much feedback all the time to your coaches, don't you? You've got your power meters, and cycling is more calibrated than most other sports. It's a sort of benign feedback system, isn't it? If you produce the numbers that your coach wants, you'd feel good, and you could maybe forget that the numbers are actually just there to get you somewhere else.
Yeah, exactly. And it's easy to get wrapped up in the numbers. Like, it's easy, like today, for instance, if I was supposed to do, I'll make myself sound good now. So I was supposed to do 550 watts for 10 minutes, and and I did 540. I'd be like, oh, that was terrible. Like, I was 10 watts off what I was supposed to get. And then people sort of get wrapped up in all that, and like every session, like they're trying to do a PB, and it's not possible. How especially when you're like a professional, how can you go out every day and do a PB for a certain thing? You just can't, can you? So people do get wrapped up in that. I think road cycling is a lot less intense with that than track cycling, because track, the numbers are just, they don't lie. You know, in a team pursuit, for instance, if you drop the speed by 0.1 of a second for your lap, that stands out like a sore thumb. So then those numbers really do matter a lot more, and that's how you are selected or not. Whereas in road racing, obviously, the numbers basically show how fit you are, you know, compared to you can have your power curve. So I'm sure a lot of people upload their training files and stuff. You can basically have a curve of all your PBs, and so from 10 seconds, a minute, all the way down to sort of like 3 hours or whatever. And the closer you are to that curve, obviously the better shape you're in, and that's where, and then you use that to then go and race on the road. Whereas on the track, I think it's different, a lot more intense on the track for sure, if that makes any sense.
It does. And I guess, wow, as well, there must be a certain mental strength that you need, because you are going to have bad days in training or days where you're not perfect. Maybe it's a physiological thing, maybe you're feeling a little bit under the weather, or it's just the magic isn't there that day. And I guess you have to be mentally strong not to panic on those days.
I think, like, if we have bad days, sometimes it's also good to have, because then that also makes you more motivated for the other day for training again. And also, like, in a race, you also can have a bad day, and especially in a Grand Tour, your Grand Tour is good as your bad day is. Like, especially if you want to do a GC. So it's also good to know on a bad day where you still sort of can to suffer and go to the finish line.
That makes sense, actually. So what you're saying is, if you're having, say, a 7 out of 10 day, you've got to hold it at a 7 out of 10 day rather than letting it drop to a 3 out of 10 day. Because if you were a GC contender, that would blow it off.
Or you try to make it, you're like, if I can make my worst day better, like you go from a 7 to an 8, it's also already an improvement.
Yeah, I think in a race it's easier to do that. I think in training it's hard when, for instance, if you're better climber than somebody else, and then in an efforts day they're going better than you, that can be quite hard to take, no?
Yeah, true. I mean, I remember that one time here, I think an effort of like 40 minutes or something, and then I also like exploded after 20 minutes. Yeah, then you can't finish that anyway. But in a race you have to go, but in training then you can say like,
yeah.
But
I remember one day here actually,
it was like really warm.
Yeah, and there was one day the start of a camp, and you felt terrible, and you were like, "Oh, Tim, no, I'm not going to do any more efforts today." And Tim looked at Wout like, just really disappointed. But fair play, you stuck to your guns. You didn't do any more efforts, and then by the end of the camp, Wout was good, and a few other guys were like sort of dropping off and not as good. And then Tim's like, "Oh yeah, it's good job you did that easy day, like at the start of the camp."
Yeah.
You got to know your body as well, and be confident with that.
You really have to listen to your body. No, if you really feel you can't do what you need to do that day, sometimes it's better to take a day off or easy. I know that you do that once a week, but
yeah, there's a time and a place for it in there. Sometimes you push through.
Yeah.
Sometimes you like really have to dig in, and then other times, if you're close to a race or whatever, it's time to really sort of back off and not overdo it. Remember, you got altitude sickness here once as well.
Oh, that was my first altitude camp. I told it to the boys, I don't know, a few days ago. Oh, I was so sick.
Tim's still adamant that it wasn't altitude sickness. It's
But-
just Wout being soft. That's what he said.
No, I had all
Quote,
I had
quote.
all the symptoms of altitude sickness because I remember, I think 2 o'clock in the night, I called Tim to check my temperature and everything because I was sweating and I think I was even speaking to myself like horrible, like shaking and
We've had that a few times. I remember Zabi Zandio, who's now a DS with this team. It was the first time I came here in 2011, and he was the same. And we went down to sea level to do a test, because then we were going to do a test up here to see the difference. Because it was our first time doing altitude, and we got down, and he was just like hunched over the car, like he was like yellow. He was like he'd come straight out of The Simpsons, and he was just like terrible. And then they drove him back up, and he spent, I think it was 2 days just in his room, brought him food in his room, and he just didn't get out of bed.
but I had the same. But then I remember the Nathan brought me down, physio.
Yeah.
And I remember like every 100 meters I went more down, I felt a little bit better. And then I came in the hotel. I didn't feel great then, but you know, like I had appetite again. And remember I went for an ice cream then. So happy I was down.
That's another thing. Training camps here have changed a lot. Like when we started in 2011, we used to go on a rest day. We'd go down to the beach and have a pizza.
I never
Down
had
by-
that.
Yeah, you know, all the lads, like, well, not all the lads, but you could see people going into Lineker's bar. Yeah, not a chance we do that now.
I never went down for pizza. That's sad.
Yeah, times have changed. You just had ice cream, though, when you claimed you were sick.
No, I was sick, but you know, when you get hungry again,
Soft, mate.
soft. Now, I like my ice cream then.
Should we do some listeners' questions? Because this is the section of the show where we always give out a few tips to GTCC members. And we've had some really good questions in for you two on the subject of training. Here's one from Carl, Gary and Nicola. Now, they all want to know about rest days. They're aged between 53 and 65. And their question is, should you plan your rest days and how many should you have?
Rest to be the best. Sometimes.
Ah, nice.
Yeah, I think,
I can get on board with that.
seeing how old did you say? 53 to 65?
Yeah.
Yeah, no, they're still, you know, young and fit and can deal with a lot. So, yeah, I think it's always good when you have a good hard session, you can have a rest day then, can't you? It depends on your goals and everything, doesn't it, how many rest days you have. But
And also if you have a job.
yeah. And the big thing
if
is,
you work like 5 days a week and you train,
yeah, like most people,
yeah, that's what I mean.
pretty tough going. But with resting as well, I think that's key to training almost, because that's where your muscles adapt and, you know, mend. Yeah, so if you're out and about on a rest day, that's why I like being on training camp so good, because on the rest day, especially in Tenerife, there is nothing to do
Or nothing to do.
other
yeah,
than podcast.
Yeah.
And,
This is the highlight of the day for me today. Really,
Yeah.
I was like looking at my watch all the time.
What do you mean of the day? You've been on to me for months about coming on.
Yeah, but you cancel all the time.
Highlight of the year. So
Yeah,
far.
no, but I mean, I think we're planning already this for 2 months.
Yeah, it's true.
And you all the time,
Busy man, mate. Working hard.
busy. Then the internet was bad. Then microphone was not working. Then
But yeah, no, rest is key and all part of it, really, that you rest properly.
Yeah.
Because, yeah, like if you're out and about walking, or this is for professional athletes, obviously, because
we are professionals. Yeah.
normal people, like, yeah, you can't just like put your feet up and just get cooked for and have a massage, can you? But yeah, rest is just that's what Shane Sutton used to say. Actually, you can't overtrain; you can just under rest.
Nice. But your rest days are never rest days as the rest of us would have rest days, are they? Like, let's say it's a rest day at the tour. For most people, a rest day involves beer, maybe a nice meal, might be a DVD, something like that. Your rest day involves quite a long bike ride.
Yeah, I like to ride on a rest day because I feel terrible after just a day off.
How long do you do then?
Only hour and a half.
Yeah, that's not really long.
Oh no, I didn't say it was long. Tom said it was long.
Oh,
Bloody hell, Tom. That's
Yeah,
not long.
It's a decent ride
one
for the
and a
rest
half.
of us.
That's not long. I also do like one and a half. Yeah.
Yeah. But yeah, like a complete day off for me, every ride is different, obviously. But for me, I just feel like the next day then, like your body just like overcompensates almost on a day off, and you feel bloated, and yeah, it takes you like almost like 3 hours to just sort of get going again, which sounds ridiculous,
But do you also have that? Like, for example, sometimes you go really late on your rest day, but then the whole day you feel like
what do you mean go late?
yeah, for your easy ride.
Oh yeah, I can't.
And then you go, and then after you come back at the shower, you feel way more better.
Oh yeah, for sure, doing a bit of something helps. But that's another thing with training, Tom. I really struggle to get out after midday. If I don't get out,
After 12, no way.
yeah,
No,
just because unless you've done something, like if you're just mooching around the house and playing with Max or having something to eat, and then by the time it gets to 12, like struggle to get out.
Then it's too late.
Yeah.
Here's a nice question from Corey. Corey says, how do you train in a headwind without screaming profanities and looking like a psycho?
What? Screaming what?
Profanities,
There we go.
effing and blinding. There's another one for you. You just got to do it, haven't you? Otherwise, you either get home or you don't. So
Or you just turn around,
and go further away from home.
tailwind, and then you go 2 hours and take the train back.
Or do that, yeah. Hopefully you got Apple Pay on your phone.
Nice. Here's a question from Charlie. This is quite a nice one. He says, do many pros do leg gym sessions in the racing season? Does squatting help with power? And there's a sort of an associated question here from Mick, who wants to know, and I know what he means here, how you fit in strength and conditioning while you're also meant to be out on the bike.
Well, you needed to stop doing your gym work because you're getting too big, weren't you?
Yeah, my arms were like...
Yeah, his arms and legs
You
are
have got
massive.
very big
Massive.
arms, well, yeah.
Yeah, so my breadsticks...
DJ breadsticks.
yeah, let's stop with that one. I think you also don't go to the gym.
No, I always used to say I'd rather just do an hour on the bike than an hour in the gym. Extra hour.
But I think with sprinters, for example, today we had rest day and then Sonny Cobrelli went to the gym.
Yeah, I think a lot more gym workers come into it, like team pursuiters now do a lot of gym. Although Ed Clancy doesn't, the rest do.
Did you do that in the gym then when you
No.
run the track?
No, we just did like
You don't
overgeared.
like the gym, huh?
Nah, I'm not the biggest fan.
No.
Just because, I don't know, like core, like, some people do activation and stuff in the morning. I like to do stuff that I know is definitely benefiting me and for a reason. So if I have a bit of a sore back or a weak point, like my hip or whatever, once I've fractured it, or pelvis, whatever, then I'll do the stuff. But I'm not a fan of just going down, doing a load of, stretches and stuff with the guys just for the sake of it.
Here's a nice one from Paul James, a slightly sort of philosophical question. He says, is it more about the effort you put in on rides or the time spent on the bike?
I think it's a combination.
Yeah, again, it's all what you're training for, isn't it?
Yeah.
I think civilians obviously have little time, less time than we do. So I think, there's no beating a good jump on the turbo, do a race on Zwift for an hour, or some efforts and stuff. And that's a lot more beneficial than maybe just plodding along for an hour of an evening. And then when you're on the weekend, then you have a bit more time to go out and do 3 hours with a nice coffee stop with the lads and girls.
Sounds good. This is a sort of associated question. This one comes from Chris. Chris wants to know,
Is this Chris Froome or?
This is Chris, Chris Froome
Probably
of
is.
Monaco. Chris Froome of Monaco would like to know, does just going out on the bike count as training? You're thinking about junk mileage here, aren't you? In that sometimes just sitting there and pedalling is not as good as resting?
Yeah, like a general day, but you still
Would a
have to...
recovery ride be training for you? So you do an hour?
It's part of the training.
Yeah, I don't know. Like, for instance, after the tour, I went out on the bike with Ave, my father-in-law, and George North, the winger or centre for Wales. And, we rode to Cowbridge and the calf was shut. And we were like, what were you going to do? And we were like, just go to the pub. Went to the pub, had a few pints, rode home. That's not training, is it?
Oh, remember that day that we in Menton with your friends?
Oh, that was great.
That was a good day.
I think this is the best ride I've ever had, actually.
Yeah.
Do you want to tell him?
We were just going on a bike, training with 2 of your friends.
Yeah, basically 2 of my good friends from back home, Dale Appleby and Rob Partridge, came out to stay with us.
Was Rob the one who had to in the evening? Or was it Dale?
Yeah, he threw up. Yeah. So we'd had a good night out, and they used to be bike riders.
First we went on the bike, and then we went out.
Ah, okay.
Because it was already at a little bit the end of the season, and then I think you made a really big loop for them, and they were not fit.
Yeah, so like I
And
say,
then you said, I want to punish them or something. I don't know.
yeah, they used to be bike riders, but so I was like, we'll do like 2.5 hours. It was like 3.5 hour loop, and there was quite 2 decent climbs. And then we dropped down into Menton, which is like
That
20 minutes
was
from
super
home.
warm also.
Yeah, super warm. They were suffering, actually. They were really bad. And that made us feel good. That's another thing, training with guys that are not as good as you is always nice for morale.
Super feeling.
So we dropped down to this town, stopped for like a nice sandwich or something, and we had about 3 Aperol Spritz and a beer.
And then it went wrong.
And then we were riding home along the beach, and then we were looking out at the sea, like, oh, that would be nice. Should we just go for a little dip? So we parked our bikes up, stripped down into our shorts, obviously, then went for a swim. And then...
but the thing is also, like, I never stopped there for a swim.
Oh, no, no.
So you have to imagine, every day in the summer, we pass, like, the beach. And, yeah, then you go for 5-6 hours, like, super warm then, sweating, and everyone...
Dead jealous of everyone having a good time on the beach, drinking cocktails. Yeah.
And then it was so nice to stop one time and just jump in the water.
So then we had a little dip, rode back home, and then on the way home we were like, oh, should we get ice cream as well? So we got that ice cream. Then we got home and then just carried on drinking, went out and had a great night out. So that was a great day.
Yeah.
But that wasn't training, was it?
No,
that's not classed as training.
They were just having fun.
It was for Rob and Dale. But
yeah, it was a little bit shame that we had to ride a bike.
Yeah.
Should have gone straight away to the beach.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Well, cheers. Thanks for coming. Wow, I'm not sure how much training we actually talked, but...
Thanks for inviting me.
Yeah, more. No effing and blinding next time.
No effing and blinding.
No profanities.
Sweet.
No, also not that word.
And custard when we get home.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Ciao. See you.
Tom, so this is part of the pod where you fill us in on your Zwifting, but gotta say, you've been absent for a few weeks. Something about piles?
I'd like to clear a few things up at this point in the pod, G. So, in my absence from Zwift, from our weekly club rides, which is due to something else, you pulled a few favours, and Sir Chris Hoy took my place, which is a decent substitute for my abilities. It appears that Sir Chris Hoy told everyone else on the ride that the reason for my absence was piles. So I would like to make it quite clear at this point that Sir Chris Hoy, one of the greatest Olympians ever, is not familiar with my arse.
Yeah, just off the back of that, though, need to say a massive thanks to Chris for stepping up and doing that, along with Laura Kenny. Well, they led a great ride by all sounds. I think they enjoyed it more than me and you, Tom. And we've also had some club members lead the rides too, which went down really well. So, got to say a big shout out to Chris Gams, Steve Gabriel, and Anne Kitchen, who I co-led a ride with. So, massive thanks, guys.
Yeah, definitely. That was a really nice touch. We will be looking for more of you to do this over the summer, so please do get in touch if you fancy giving it a go. You can find us on Facebook, Twitter, Insta, or you can email us at gtcc@crowdnetwork.co.uk.
Right, Tom, let's finish today's episode of Any Other Business.
Yeah, G, our first appointment today is for an official GTCC statistician. Benjamin Money got in touch to say, I've been thinking whether there is anything I could possibly add to the GTCC. Avid listener, Wednesday group rider, and what I think you need is a stat man. My occupation is in the field of analytics, not sport focused, but it's an area I'd love to get into, so I see this as my in, even if it's just a title I can claim. I don't know, what should we give him, G? Maybe our Zwift data? Do some nice graphs, some bar charts, pie charts?
Nice. I like a few stats as well, because we can always bend them to make ourselves look better, you know?
Benjamin, if you are happy to duke the stats to make us look better, you're in.
Yep, Benjamin, you're in.
Nice. A few weeks ago, we also asked our members to get in touch if they wanted to be part of our official GTCC Team Pursuit Squad. Matt Haldeman has thrown his hat into the ring and says he's a lifelong trackie. And Noah Adelson, who is a 16-year-old cyclist from Florida, would love to be a lead-out person for the club. Noah says, I'm big enough to push watts. My 6'2" height provides a good draft. I've done several time trials, and my running background has built up a decent aerobic engine. Aside from all that, all I can offer is blind enthusiasm with only 9 months of racing experience. What do we think, G?
Quality, I reckon both are in. Yeah, I like the sound of a big lead-out man. Can't fault it.
Perfect, okay. And as next week is the final episode of Series 1, remember, that means, work it out, 1 week left to get your applications in to be on the GTCC committee.
Get them in, guys. So, let's finish with some shout-outs then.
Nice, yeah. The first one is to Ian Killick, who sent us some pics of a photo book he's made of all his Zwift rides in 2020. So it's basically his yearbook on Zwift. And from what I can see, he's managed to ride with you, Geraint, with Chris Froome, with Chris Hoy, and Sarah Story.
Sweet, and also Michael Levine wants a shout-out for Spoke CC CAF in Codicart, Hertfordshire. It's the best cycling CAF in the whole of Hertfordshire, he says.
Paul Stobbs, remember Paul Stobbs, our club archivist? He's got another book to recommend for the month of May. He wants us to read Free Country by George Mahood, which apparently tells the story of two blokes who cycle 1,000 miles from Land's End, leaving in just their Union Jack boxer shorts. Not your traditional cycling book, but an amusing read, he says.
Yeah, that does sound different. I hope they had padded boxers, otherwise that is impressive, isn't it? 1,000 miles.
They're quite airy, aren't they, boxer shorts as well?
Yeah, so if they did it in summer, can you imagine doing that in like January? Whoa. Anyway, what about for our listeners, Tom, if they want to listen to any of the pods, any recommendations for them?
Yeah, a proper deep dive of a podcast this week, G. Crowd Network have just launched a new series called Unaccountable. I'd urge everyone to go and listen to it. It's a podcast all about police reform in America and trying to hold police accountable for their actions. It's hosted by Allo Black and Ben Cohen, and each episode tells the story of an American citizen whose rights have been violated by the police, along with celebrity guests who are also fighting for change. Go and search for Unaccountable in all your usual podcast places.
See you next time.
That was the Geraint Thomas Cycling Club. Thanks to our new Team Pursuit members Benjamin Money and Noah Adelson, to our head of social media Fionn Clark, our head of music Emma Hickman, our treasurer Diane Barker, and our honorary president Mike Carr. And of course, most of all, to you for listening.
Crowd Network, a place where you belong.